Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is July 28th, 2024 and Raphinha continues insisting that he wants to stay in Barcelona. Also, Athletic Club de Bilbao are mounting an offensive in order to keep Nico Williams. And finally, Barcelona have communicated their decision to Mikel Merino. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and before we begin with the news, just a quick reminder to make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. All of this helps this channel continue to grow. Also, if you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure you hit the Goal Kits, Kickback, or Fanatics. You have plenty of options. If you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure you hit the Bet Us, where you can place bets not only on Barcelona matches, but on all sporting events around the world. All links are down below in the description. Now, beginning this video with the news that Raphinha is continuing to insist that he wants to remain in Barcelona. Now, as I reported in yesterday's video, Arsenal are reportedly ready in an offer for Raphinha. It looks like Mikel Arteta would like to have the Brazilian on his team. And in fact, it's even being reported in English media that Arsenal would like to offer Raphinha the number 10 jersey in order to replace Emil Smith-Rowe, who just finalized his transfer to Fulham. Now, given this news that Arsenal are interested in Raphinha, the Brazilian player through his agent has communicated to the club yet once again that he wants to remain in Barcelona. He wants to participate in a preseason tour. He's confident that he can earn a spot on the first team under Hansi Flick. But some are saying that the future of Raphinha could be tied to what happens with Nico Williams and Dani Olmo. Because if Barcelona sign both Nico Williams and Dani Olmo, Raphinha might end up seeing that he's not going to be getting much minutes, that there's not going to be a place for him on the first team, and given that he could end up changing his mind and end up deciding to leave Barcelona. Of course, that the signing of Nico Williams and Dani Olmo not only means that Raphinha would not get minutes, but that could also affect, his chances of being called up to the Brazilian team. So again, whatever happens with Nico Williams and Dani Olmo could end up affecting Raphinha and could end up changing the mind of the Brazilian to leave Barcelona. Now, there has been a lot of interest from Saudi Arabia in Raphinha. As I've reported before, Al Hilal are heavily interested in the player. There's also reports that Al Nassr are also interested in Raphinha. However, Raphinha has no interest in joining Saudi Arabia. However, he could be interested in joining the Premier League. So again, whatever happens with Dani Olmo and Nico Williams perhaps could end up pushing Raphinha towards Arsenal, because after all, Raphinha does want to compete or play in teams that can compete for important tournaments such as the Champions League, and Arsenal, of course, is a team that's always competing for European spots. Now, speaking of Nico Williams, since I just mentioned his name, it's reported that Athletic Club de Bilbao are currently mounting an offensive to try to convince the player to stay. Now, as reported in yesterday's video, Nico Williams' entourage are reporting that the player is leaning more towards staying at Athletic Club de Bilbao. Of course, there is no decision. I've seen a lot of reports today saying that Nico Williams has already made a decision, that he has decided to stay or not stay. Those reports are not true. Nico Williams is still making up his mind. He's still considering the decision on whether to stay at Athletic Club de Bilbao or make a move to Barcelona. And it's reported that Nico Williams is set to meet with his family towards the middle of the upcoming week, where he's going to discuss his options and make a final decision on what he is going to do. Now, having said that, it's reported that Athletic Club de Bilbao are now mounting an offensive to try to keep the player, where Athletic Club de Bilbao are preparing an agreement for Nico Williams to sign in order to try to keep the player at the club. Now, it's reported that this agreement would offer Nico Williams a much higher salary that would effectively make Nico Williams the star of Athletic Club de Bilbao. It's even being reported that there is a chance that Athletic Club de Bilbao will try to increase his release clause in order to shield the player from other clubs. And finally, it's even being speculated that Athletic Club de Bilbao could offer Nico Williams the number 10 jersey, so definitely making him the star of Athletic Club de Bilbao. And this is, of course, an effort to try to convince the player to stay at his current club. Now, Athletic Club de Bilbao are reportedly feeling very confident that Nico Williams will end up staying there. Barcelona, on the other hand, are feeling very confident that Nico Williams will eventually agree to make a move to Barcelona. And in fact, it's being reported that Deco has not traveled with the team to the US. Of course, in the earlier video, I told you about the squad list that has traveled to the US, the 31 players that Hansi Flick has picked for this preseason tour. However, Deco has not traveled with the team. He has stayed in Barcelona, and it's being reported that the reason why Deco has stayed behind is because he's awaiting Nico Williams' final decision. Once Nico Williams decides, then Deco will get to work. You know, if Nico says he wants to come to Barcelona, then Deco will immediately mobilize in order to finalize the signing of the player. So no news as far as the decision of Nico Williams, regardless of what some reports are saying out there. He's still making up his mind. He still has not made a decision. But the new news is that Athletic Club de Bilbao are preparing an agreement in order to convince the player to stay at his current club. Now, speaking of signing players, we'll end this video talking about Mikel Merino, because Barcelona have reached out to the player and informed them of their decision. Now, as I reported in yesterday's video, Barcelona have cooled off their pursuit of Mikel Merino, because even though they were very interested in signing him for that center midfield position, Hansi Flick has realized that he has enough on the squad to fill that position. He is incredibly impressed with Marc Casado, also Marc Bernal, and Oriol Romeo has been impressing Flick as well. So Flick has decided that he has plenty of options to reinforce the center midfield position. As such, Mikel Merino is no longer a priority for the club. And it's being reported that Barcelona have communicated this to the player. They have informed him that even though they are interested in signing him, he's not a priority. They don't want him to wait for them until the final day. And as such, if he wants to wait, that's great. And if not, they totally understand, because again, he's not a priority, and they don't want him to just stay waiting for Barcelona and at the end for Barcelona not to sign him. Now, Arsenal are very heavily interested in Mikel Merino. In fact, Mikel Arteta has reached out to the player, talked to him in person. So there is a chance that Mikel Merino could end up in the Premier League, because after all, it's reported that the player does want to play for a team that can compete for European spots. Arsenal, of course, being a team that does compete for those spots. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. I uploaded a video earlier today. Make sure to check it out. Lots of news in there. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, Visca Barça.